everybody. It is Monday. Welcome to the program tonight. Happy Monday to you. You are kicking off week 56, 57. Week 56, 57. You are kicking off. Boom. Kicking it off. Kicking it off strong, I think. That's what you're going to tell me. That's what I hope you're doing. I hope you're kicking it off strong. Awesome Monday. Boom. That was like I was Karnak there. Boom. That is great to hear, Kitty. The Queen is here. Vicky, how are you? Great to have you here. Good evening, Adele and Dazzle. Dazzle, it's treat time. I just saw Max downstairs waiting for Nana to get some scraps of Nana's dinner. I'm not sure how he feels about anchovies, but there was anchovies involved in Nana's dinner. So glad to have you here, Vicky. Well, I know Kitty is grateful for sales and great customers today. I can sense that. I can feel that. When things are good, things are good. And it's a good time to have a good time. It's a good time to have a good time. It is great to have you all here tonight. On this Monday night. What are you all grateful for? I know what Kitty's grateful for, but what are you grateful for? I mean, Kitty is like got the birthday gift that keeps on giving. Hey, Barb is here too. Great to have you here, Barb. What are you all grateful for this Monday night? Yeah, we have been busy with incoming. And it is like the furniture, people are getting their furniture delivery or their house has been sold because furniture is coming in too, which has been in a little bit of a lull on furniture, but that is coming in rapidly as well. But we had a lot of clothing coming in. This weekend was big for clothing. We had a lot of clothing coming in. I knew when they had the message, we had to store some in one of the fitting rooms. I was like, all right, we were busy with incoming. I didn't even have to pull up on the computer to see how many things we took in. But that's okay. I'm good with that. I like lots coming in. Hey, Vicky, you are still in it. I will tell you, I am thrilled for you. I am beyond thrilled that you had your best month in your 6 years last month. But I will tell you, this pandemic is not over yet. We are still in it. Things are looking really good, but it is not over yet. It is not over yet. And we're going to talk some about that tonight. I got some, we're going to talk money and finance tonight on that, because I've had a lot of questions along those lines. So we're going to talk about money tonight. So, well, what the heck? Let's get started here, people. Why wait for more? Let's get started. Let's get started. We got the Good Morning, Good Night book here. The Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start this program every night. Tonight we're on page 66 if you're following along in the book. Good morning. You've been playing this open world game for a while now. Complete a mission today. Gain some new powers. Boom. I like this one. And it's actually kind of funny because remind me at the end and I'll share why tonight's episode is funny. And it has to do with Rebecca's job and an update that they did today, and but it'll make more sense at the end when I show you the graphics. It'll make more sense when I show you the graphics. Well, it is great to have you all here on this Monday. I got a few miscellaneous tidbits, and then we're going to get into money tonight because that's a big topic, is cash management and debt management. So we gotta talk about that. We might need a couple nights to talk about that. This was a good quote from Simon. I mean, he always has good quotes. Strong leaders earn loyalty. Weak leaders demand it. Strong leaders earn loyalty. Weak leaders demand it. And while I'm talking about that, let's the CEO of the WD-40 company, was talking about leadership, and leadership's not about the leader here. Is not about the leader. On the other hand, leadership is all about the leader. He says, imagine a place where you go to work every day, you make a contribution to something bigger than yourself, you learn something new, you're protected and set free by a compelling set of values, and you go home happy. Our job as leaders is to create that place, because happy people create happy families. Happy families create happy communities, and happy communities create a happy world. And my gosh, we need a happy world. So think about that for a second. He says, imagine a place where you go to work every day, you make a contribution to something bigger than yourself, you learn something new, you're protected and set free by a compelling set of values, and you go home happy. Our job as leaders is to create that place, because happy people create happy families create happy communities, and happy communities create a happy world. And my gosh, we need a happy world. I like that. And he says, in contrast, there's the soul-sucking leader, the soul-sucking CEO, he calls it. He's the master of control. He's the know-it-all. He's corporate royalty. He's spent a lot of time fighting his way up the corporate royalty channel. He thinks learning is for losers, because he has all the answers. Most particularly, his ego eats his empathy instead of his empathy eating his ego. He must always be right. He loves fear-based culture. Micromanagement is essential. Followed through when what he does, and he hates feedback. Think of that. The two contrasts there. Create a happy place or be a soul-sucking place. Hey, Jennifer, great to have you here. And he also says you must have hope. Being hopeless means you're not going to deliver on what you'd have to do. Hope is about having a pragmatic optimism. You've got to be pragmatic and optimistic at the same time in both. One of the key attributes of being a servant leader is that he or she is the champion of hope. And I believe in hope. And I believe in happy workers, happy families, happy communities. I love it. And aren't we all, isn't our industry, the resale industry, truly poised to be the ultimate community part of something bigger? I mean, when you think about what our industry does, the effect it has on the community, on the environment, on the world, on families that both work for us, that supply us, and that buy from us. Okay, we are the key to happy communities. Our leadership and how we lead our stores is key to creating that happy community. Okay, all this from a guy whose product removes squeaks. Okay, WD-40. I mean, so take the squeak out and bring in the happy. Take the squeak out, bring in the happy. I wish WD-40 would work on Max when he's crying to get whatever we're eating. Just saying. He sounds like he's got a little squeak there sometimes. You'd love me to post that happy quote, Nikki? Well, I will do that. Hang on a second. I got to put it in a different pile. I will do that. It is a really good quote. I mean, hey, Kelly, you snuck in there. Rose, you snuck in there. See, I get talking and I missed you. Who snuck in here? Great to have you all here. My screen just keeps on scrolling and I miss things. But it is great to have you all here. But that is it is about happy. It's a choice. You know, I've talked about it time and time again. It is a choice when you get out of bed every morning. You can choose happy. You can choose it. Okay? And that leads the day. That leads the day. Thank you, Cassandra, for posting the YouTube link. If you're having any problems at all with Facebook, because sometimes Facebook can be wonky, we don't control Facebook. You can flip right on over to YouTube. We're streaming on both Facebook and YouTube. Can I? All right. According to Levi Strauss and Company. It's not Levi and Strauss. Levi Strauss and Company. Instead of squeezing into skinny jeans, they want wide-legged and baggier denim. Wide leg and baggier denim is in, skinny is out. I'm going to have to give up my skinny jeans. I'm going to have to wear my wide leg jeans, I guess. That is the style. That is what is selling in Levi's right now. Skinny jeans are out, wide leg and baggier denim. And this isn't the first time in Levi's history that they've seen this. Cycles do come and go, and the pandemic played a contributing role. The consumers looking for a more comfortable, more relaxing denim. We all gained some weight over the year. Yay! Kelly wants high waist and baggy for her new redhead look. I just saw the headline that you're going a fiery redhead there, Kelly. Nike is launching a refurbishment program in store. Nike is launching the Nike Refurbish program, which takes returns for gently worn, light, new, or imperfect footwear and refurbishes and cleans them to be resold. Okay, resold. Give them a new life, a second life for Nikes at Nike stores. It is launching initially at 15 stores across the U.S. The refurbished products will be sold at retailers Nike factory outlet stores, Nike Unite, and Nike community stores. Although most of the initial 15 stores are located in outlet centers. Items that can be restored to as close to new condition as possible are restocked as Nike refurbished products, while those that can't be refurbished to that level can be donated to a community partner or recycled into materials and products through Nike Grind. It's all about the secondhand market. It's keeping your product alive in the secondhand market. I'm trying to see if they mention what cities they're trying this in. It does not tell me what cities they're starting that in. I'll let you know if I find out, because that'd be interesting to go see the product on the shelf and see what they're doing. But Nike enters the used market with their own goods, okay, and their own refurbishment program. So that'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see. Nike also heads the list of the 50 most valuable brands. The most valuable brands, Nike maintains a considerable lead over second-ranked Gucci, whose brand value fell 12% in 2020. In the top 10, and even Nike was down 13%, but is still number one. Rounding out the top 10 is Louis Vuitton, Adidas, Chanel, Zara, Uniqlo, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, H&M, Cartier, and Hermes. Are the most valuable brands. The fastest growing brand is Fila, with a 68% increase in brand value. And Timberland and China's Bossy Deng ranked as the second and third fastest growing brands. Yes, refurbished is a new word for used. Kitty, that is 100% correct. The biggest loser in brand value, the biggest loser in the list in brand value was Coach, with their value falling 31%. Overall, the world's top 50 most valuable brands declined by 8% in value. And part of that is 2020 was a tough year for the apparel sector. Maybe you heard that somewhere. But Nike is still tops. Yeah, I thought that was interesting as well, Kat. That Zara and H&M are valuable, are considered in the top 10 of most valuable brands. But you know, it is you know, it's based on market penetration. No, Chanel wasn't Chanel in there. Chanel was so Gucci was 2, Louis was 3, Adidas was 4, Chanel was number 5. Chanel was number 5 on the list of most valuable brands. So you never know where somebody's gonna fall on that list. You know, it's always interesting to watch these different rankings, and you know, that is an interesting look at things. It is an interesting look. Facebook Analytics will be shutting down on June 30th. Facebook announced quietly relative that users of Facebook's Analytics, that free tool, will no longer be available as of June 30th. On Cassandra's birthday, they're cutting it out. Until then, people will still be able to access reports and insights, and they'll be able to export charts and tables. Advertisers and developers that want to retain access to their currently available data will need to export it to their desktop by the end of June. Marketers in the future will have to rely on Facebook-specific performance data, but the important point is that marketers will need to figure out their own individual solution and rely on first-party data to reach their customers. Facebook launched their analytics several years ago, trying to take a cue from Google, hoping that it would take off as a cross-device measurement solution, although it was never widely adopted. So, and the problem was really use Facebook Analytics because it really isn't all that useful. Yes, Chanel number 5, Rose. You got it. That was good. And yeah, vintage Levi's is big bucks. Vintage Levi's, you're right, Kelly, is big bucks. Maybe someday your Levi's will be vintage. Your Levi's will be vintage. That's a good one, Vicky. And in your market, that's pretty aggressive. You know, with the people that shop and consign in your market. In Leominster, Chanel's not a thing. Chanel isn't a thing that we have to do or worry about in Leominster, Massachusetts. Oh, that's great. That is great, Rose. I'm glad that worked for you. Switching gears here, our friends at the SBA. I promised you an update on the PPP last night on where things are with that, because there is still money available, but it is dwindling. We got about $50 billion left. $50 billion left in the PPP. So it will likely run out early May at this rate, late April. It will run out before it expires at the end of May, at the rate that it is running, using up money. So far, this time around, they have approved over 4.5 million loans. The average loan size is $52,000. The average loan size. California still leads in highest loan count. They've issued over 450,000 PPPs and over $30 billion worth. The next closest PPP issuer is Florida with 353,000 loans, followed closely behind with Texas with 351,000 PPPs. So the majority of these are under 50,000. 3.6 million of them are under $50,000. Nice, Vicky. Well, I have not seen that, but I will have to get out more. I'll have to get out some more. Get the next shot on Friday. I can get out some more. The biggest PPP lender is Chase, followed by Bank of America. The average loan size at Chase is $77,000. And the biggest industries currently on the PPP are accommodation and food services, followed by construction. Retail is 7th place, representing about 8% of the loans. There were $19 billion. $19 billion. So it is interesting in that. And so, you know, the real lesson with that is if you haven't gotten your first PPP or you haven't gotten your second PPP, if you're eligible, get it, okay? Because time is running out. Again, even if you just got your first one, if you have a quarter of 2020 that is 25% down from the same quarter in 2019, you are eligible to get a second PPP, even if you just recently got your first one. So you just have to certify not only that you met the threshold on the percentage down, but that you, that you have used or will use all of your PPP up. So that is the real key to that. That is the important key to that. So on to my topic tonight. That may take a couple nights for it to all sink in, but we'll give it a shot here tonight. So one of the questions I've had asked a lot, and first and foremost, I want to say I completely understand that not everyone is in the same cash position as everybody else. You guys are all in a variety of cash positions right now as we work our way out of this pandemic. Okay, you didn't all go in with the same bank account balance. You're not all coming out with the same bank account balance. I'm not picking on anybody for where they are. I'm trying to help us all through this, regardless of where you are in this. Okay, and we're all at different places. So, you know, one of the questions, the big questions I've been getting is about the EIDL loan, and some people want to pay that off or get rid of it because they don't want the debt. And, you know, partly I have been advising not to completely do that because this pandemic is not over yet. And while things are feeling really, really good now, there are still things to be cautious of. The virus is still raging out there. There is lots of infections still. Vaccines are coming. People are getting healthier. We're getting there. But we aren't there. We are getting there, but we are not there. So, with that in mind, it's like, do I pay off my idle loan? If I have the cash, because I've just been using it as an insurance policy, I didn't actually use my idle, I just had it as an insurance policy. Should I pay it off? And part of that is how much of a cushion you have in your business. So how much cushion should you have? Okay. In general, I like to follow, I think, Dave Ramsey's rule of 3 to 6 months of expenses is a good rule. And I know I'll already hear from some of you, so I'll answer the next question. Well, that's what he says for your personal expenses. He doesn't say that that you should have that for business. Actually, he does say that. Okay, he doesn't talk most of his show, if you follow him at all, is consumer related finance. It's not about business finance, but his principles are the same. The principles of debt and what you should have on hand. I would advocate that in general, you are more equipped to adjust your business faster than you were last year. Okay, you are a better equipped, more responsive person to be able to adapt your business this year when you weren't in a position and weren't prepared to turn as fast and change and make changes that you needed to your business. You are more equipped to handle that. Okay, I mean, think of the changes you had to make starting last year of taking a turn, making a hard turn, like being in the movies, traveling in a fancy sports car, and having to make a turn while you're doing 90 miles an hour, and then make another one. That's kind of like what you've been doing this past year. Okay, that is kind of like what you've been doing. You had to make some really fast changes, okay, and you weren't prepared to do them. You are much more prepared to make those changes now. So if something came at you out of left field, if there was a new virus, something different that impacted your business, you are more prepared to do that now. Okay, but cash is still king. Okay, and I'm not advocating for debt, but I want you to have a nice cushion so that you have a strong foundation coming out of this. And so if paying off some of your debt, paying off your idle loan, or any other debt that you have would leave you in a position that doesn't allow that type of cushion, then that's a bad thing right now. But you also have to look at general cash flow. Yes, a cushion is good. And Rose, yes, I am suggesting this is still insurance. You got to look at the carrying cost of that loan as insurance. Okay, because again, this pandemic is not over. If you listen to Jerome Powell the other day, he's the chairman of the Fed. He talked about that while things are looking really, really bright, there are still things and reasons to be cautious and things to be concerned about. And that is that there are variants out there. There are areas like Michigan that's having a lot of new infections right now. There are those of you that I've talked about that have had people come back from spring break with new infections. Infections are still happening at a higher rate than we'd like, okay? They'll consider the pandemic under control when new infections is at about the rate that we have for a normal flu season. And that's sort of considered when the pandemic is under control. We're nowhere near that yet. Nowhere near it. But things are getting better, okay? Things are looking up. You're starting to see walk-in vaccination clinics. We're having one in the next town over tomorrow. You're starting to see things happen like that and come together. So things are good, but you need that cushion, because when you don't have a cushion, bad things happen. Not to overly quote Dave Ramsey, he quotes Murphy's Law, and he's like, when you don't have a cushion, Murphy moves right in, and you have all sorts of problems. And I use that as examples because that's real life, real stuff. But the other thing that you have to look at, and I know some of you are mathematicians and think, Dave Ramsey's, debt snowball idea is you always pay off debt smallest to largest. Okay. And the reason for that is debt is not a math problem. It's a psychological problem. And he's right on that. Okay. It's not, you have plenty of very, very smart people that debt. But from a business perspective, okay, what you have to look at with your debt is what your carrying costs are and how that affects cash flow. So what I mean by that is you may have a smaller debt that you could pay off, but the payment is really small, okay? Where you may have a medium debt in your list, okay, that would free up, let's say, $500 a month or $1,000 a month. And it might be more useful to pay that off, okay, to gain the cash flow, okay? Because if you gain $500 every month, that could be huge, or $1,000, or whatever the payment is. Freeing up that cash flow to be able to spend on other things, and have free, should there be a problem, should you have to make changes at the drop of a dime again, having less payments, okay, less obligations for your cash is an important thing. So part of figuring that out is looking at what your monthly cash obligations are. So starting there, looking at your budget and saying, what are my obligations on a monthly basis? What are my recurring obligations? What obligations are variable, like payroll and such? Okay, but what are my fixed? Okay, if you got to make $1,000 loan note payment and $5,000 rent payment, and what are your fixed costs in this, so that oops, hang on a second here. I have a cord that came undone here. There it is. It's sitting over here. Let me get this back in here before that could be very bad if we come on here, plug in. There we go. We're plugged in. So, looking at your financial monthly obligations and creating more breathing room, okay, by getting rid of big payments, which may not be your biggest loan balance or your smallest loan balance, can be very advantageous to you because it gives you breathing room. And like, Vicky says, having breathing room is a good thing. Having opportunity to breathe, having that cushion there is important. Okay, and the other thing is that you're operating, hopefully now at a cash flow positive rate, which is what we've been talking about. So the other side of that is operating cash flow positive, and making sure that you're always doing that, or as much as you can. So understanding all of that is key into making that decision. But in general, I'm saying keep a little extra right now to make sure that we see the other side of this, because it is not over yet. It is not over yet. So that is what I'm doing. Yes, I'm quoting some Dave Ramsey stuff, but he's a smart guy. Okay, he's got more millions, okay, than probably all of us tuning in tonight. Okay, put together. Okay, we don't come up to his spare change, but that's okay. His principles and what he's done and what he preaches is good, sound decisions, even though most of it is based on a consumer finance model, the same things apply to business. And actually, if you go back in Ramsey history a long time ago, early in his business, his wife called him and his leadership team out as hypocrites because they weren't doing it from the business perspective. They were preaching it from the consumer perspective, but they weren't operating their business in the same manner. And he changed because his wife called BS on him and on his leadership team for that. So, but I'm not off to get on a Dave Ramsey kick, but I am off to get you on the right footing. The other thing, again, keep in mind is that banks are not lending. So if you got into a bind and you needed it, you would not necessarily be able to get a loan because they are not lending to small businesses at any kind of good rate right now. So those are all the things to keep in mind. But if you have a good 3 to 6 month expense cushion and you're working down your debt, I don't have or getting rid of the idle loan, I don't have a problem with that. That is my long-winded version for it. I am sure you will have questions. I will get them over there in my email, and I will respond to y'all. And we can talk about this more tomorrow night and the nights to come as you have questions, because part of you's got to digest some of this a little bit. Oh, Kitty, it's my pleasure. You know that. I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it. You know what else I'm happy to do is to let you know that video on everything that I talk about. This video and everything that I talk about goes over to narcs.org/resale strong by noon the next day. Noon, I tell you, everything goes over there. The files, the spreadsheets, the worksheets, everything goes over there, including a direct link to this video on the YouTube channel. You're not alone running this store, where you can like, comment, subscribe, and yes, you can ring the bell so that you know when a new one drops. You can also share it with all your friends in business. Butcher, baker, candlestick maker. We're here to help everybody get across the finish line. I am here every night in the Nards private Facebook group at more 8 than ish. But if you have a question in between, you just email me. Don't hesitate. Just email me. My email list is actually at its lowest level in probably a year. You email me at Neil, Neil, at ECIstores.com, Neil at ECIstores.com. Thanks, Rose. We start this program every night with the Good Morning, Good Night book. The Good Morning, Good Night book is how we start this program every night. Tonight, we are on page 66, if you were not here at the top of the program. Our good morning is, good morning. You've been playing this open world game for a while now. Complete a mission today. Gain some new powers. Our good night tonight is, good night, kids. Level up. Yes, I want you to keep on leveling up. So there's your graphics, okay, which is like right out of Super Mario Brothers, okay. And hang on, let me see if Rebecca's got it over here. I don't see it here. Well, Lego released a new update today to their Super Mario, where the Super Mario for one of the Super Mario sets, he sleeps. And then when he wakes up, he calls out for Luigi. It's really cute. I'll see if I can show it to you tomorrow. Super cute. But it was just really funny since that update came out today and we're on this graphic of Super Mario today. But hey, I found it funny. It's the weird stuff I find funny. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. I do like a good party, a wedding, a bar mitzvah, a Super Mario marathon party. I don't know. We will party again. We will party in person. And when we do, I'll be there with you. But until then, and until tomorrow night at more 8 than ish, know that you and you, but most importantly you, yes, I'm pointing at you, you're not alone running this store. It's time for dessert, everybody. Have a great night.